última que jogamos contra Sentinels realmente foi jogão.
Spraying down, but Tuyes is disjointed on the rest of his team. Cowers in, out wide, the reset, rolling thunder, lifts him up in the air, sky high.
Foram vários mapas apertados, mas lamentavelmente perdimos. E eu acho que novamente vai ser outro jogão.
I've said it before, but it's just going to come down to a game of like Sodhawk and John battling out who's calling, who's changing what. It's going to come down to the mid-rounding. It's going to come down to the basics and fundamentals. Loud is never an easy opponent.
John, chances, and delivers!
Definitely going to be hard, so we need to come prepared because we still have a chance of not making playoffs. We still have a chance of making playoffs, whether it be first seed, last seed, whatever the case may be. We just need to get there now at this point.
Eu espero que a gente realmente represente melhor, né, o Brasil, o que a gente está treinando, estamos... basicamente o que a gente está treinando, que podamos representar bem contra eles, que seja jogão, vai ser difícil, mas é possível.
Welcome back to week 4 of VCT Americas and our second match of the day. Now, the arena will be full for this one because it's Sentinels versus Loud. Now, I am Geek Heavy on the desk yet again with Wyatt and Balla. How y'all doing?
Good. That last game was different than you expected, but still ends up with the same thing. And it's unfortunate to see MIBR out of playoff contention, but G2 looked very good. So yeah. I'm very excited to see that carry forward into this game because the stakes are really high.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was definitely made in ruins for MIBR, but definitely got to give it up to G2 for getting that win. Now, let's move on to the match that we have right now, the Soup du Jour. Now, the last time we saw these teams play, it was at Masters Madrid, but today they're near the bottom of their respective groups and fighting for a survival, which is just insane to think about that. You know, now, if Loud loses today, they're officially out of playoffs. Like, Wyatt, did you ever think that those words would come out of my mouth or any mouth? Like,
no,
it's insane.
No. And the thing is, Joaquin, no. Since the debut of this team, Loud, years ago, they have made every international event. And not just that, I mean, the majority of them, they were all making deep runs. Yep. They've won international events. Like, this is just a team that you always think of as being at the very top. You would have never expected them to be down in this situation 0-3. And it's not just being down 0-3, but in the way that it's played out is pretty shocking. I've just never seen them
for them to be winless is crazy. Yeah. But even still, like, this is a team that won every single regional title up until this year, right? For them, every single time. They were America's champions last year, right? So yeah, it is shocking. It's very shocking.
Well, you know, and honestly, I think it's kind of shocking to see where Sentinels are as well.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
Now Sentinels, they say that they're ready and all is well behind the scenes. But here's what their social media posted. Let's check this out. Good news! After last match, the boys held a big team meeting and it went great. Decided to take a day off and now we're coming back at 100%, feeling like ourselves and ready to fight.
At least it's not a video of Kaplan sitting down in a chair.
Yeah. Breaking the bad news. Yeah, no, listen, I like that. In fact, I love that for them. I think that's something that Loud and Sen both need. Coming off the back of Madrid, they had to go straight into Americas here. Other teams, they had that month to prep. They were watching Loud and Sen, prepared for them, and it's those guys that are coming in with some fatigue and with less time to reinvent parts of their game, you know? So I think that's necessary.
Yeah, honestly, I'm hoping that the vibes are really high because I was watching an interview with, shout out to Pedro Romero, that he did with Coach Kaplan. And to quote what Coach Kaplan said in that interview, he said, you just can't show up to matches and not be a team in the server. And essentially, that's what they were doing. That's according to Coach Kaplan. I'm not saying that. Those are not my words. Those are his.
I mean, you can just see on the cams, he looks way more animated and frustrated than before. Like, he is now in the Coach Alex and MCE zone of anger. Seriously, which was never the case when you were seeing him before. Like, the expectations for the team are way higher, and I do feel like it's led to some frustration in their camp that they're not meeting them at the moment.
Yeah, well, you know what? Earlier, Riv caught up with Zelsis, the vibe merchant himself, to see, let's get a little vibe check. So let's check it out.
That's right, we're here in the Sen practice room. I'm joined by Bundle right now, and I got a quick question. Got to get some insight on what the meeting was like last week after the EG game, and on the off days, was it back to the grind, or was it a bit of decompressed days?
It's always about the grind, getting back to work, it's esports, but, we've had a lot of these meetings, so we need to start winning and stop having meetings. Otherwise, I need to go to an AA meeting. So, yeah.
All right, well, pizza parties later.
An AA meeting. Wait, what does that stand for in this context?
Auto aim.
Auto aim meeting.
Good. That was a good save.
Yeah, off the top. Yeah, Ball is saving us. Yeah. Now, no one actually expected Coach Potter. She thought that EG was going to take down Sentinels 2-0, and they actually did, and putting their stage 1 in jeopardy. Like, my mind was blown. Did any of y'all think that was going to happen? Like, what we saw, it was insane.
No, absolutely. But this is a pattern for EG, right? This is a pattern. They always mess teams up late in the season. They've been doing it since 2022 with that old roster back against Optic way back when. They did it last year and actually turned it into something. So very interesting to see this late in the season against Sentinels now, who are our previous international champion, right? They still hold the crown for winning Masters Madrid. And here they are once again getting knocked down and having to do up basically a run back in the lower bracket. I know we're talking about a regular season here, but yeah, they are at risk of not making playoffs because of that match.
Yeah. It seemed like Coach Potter, like those are just like, she was hoping for the best for her team, and it actually just worked in her favor. It just honestly blew everyone's mind. But you know what? Let's hop over to their competitors, shall we?
Okay.
Now, Loud did not have a great Super Week either. Like, they lost their 3rd straight match after Madrid. How? How is this possible?
I mean, first of all, they're going against crew who are just absolutely
They've been showing up, yeah.
Their players individually right now can do nothing wrong. They're hitting all of their shots. Crew played a very simple game against Loud. It was very effective, kind of reminiscent to me of like watching Gen G. You can just expect a high level of mechanical skill from every single player, top to bottom right now, and the game plan's straightforward, and Loud just could not stop them. I think right now, on the opposite end, the juxtaposition being that Loud's firepower right now is just, I think it's
lacking.
The lacking. I feel like it's the worst we've ever seen from them, and again, from a team that
they get carried by firepower. I mean, that's their identity.
They could
in a
fall
lot of
back
cases.
on it if they needed to. Yeah, like they could always fall back on that, and they just can't. Right?
And honestly, that's how they made Madrid in the first place. And Madrid wasn't the best showing from them either. Obviously, they made top 4. I think a lot of people will be excited about that and be happy with that result, especially given the fact that this is a different team, right? So with context, it might make sense. But to see them 0-3 is crazy. Yeah. I think it's absolutely what you're saying, Wyatt, about the firepower. It's not there right now for this team. And because of that, they're also trying to overcompensate in terms of compositions and agents that they're playing, right? Sonic on Deadlock is crazy at this point in the stage.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's wild to me. But you know what? Let's actually hear from one of the players. We're going to send things over to Riv, who's standing by with Kawazine.
Thank you, guys. We've infiltrated the Loud practice room. I'm going to pick Kawanzine's brain real quick. He's given me a second of his time. Kawanzine, normally Loud is the top Brazil team. Everybody's looking for the strats from this squad. What do you think has been the biggest blocker this stage for the squad and being able to get those results again?
Cara, acho que o VALORANT está num nível muito alto e se você para de evoluir, basicamente os outros times passam por cima de você. Eu acho que os times brasileiros ficaram travados, mas acho que de modo geral todos os brasileiros aqui nesse campeonato têm muito potencial para continuar evoluindo bastante e acho que talvez no próximo split a gente consiga mostrar o 100% do potencial brasileiro.
Yeah, VALORANT is a game that keeps evolving, and when you don't evolve, the other teams will steamroll you. And that's, I feel like, what's happening right now with the Brazilian teams. We kind of blocked. But I'm still confident that all the Brazilian teams can still perform good, and we are very confident for the split, for the second split.
Well, can't wait to see that evolution today. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, you heard it there. You definitely have to evolve and constantly evolve because that's just what VALORANT is. Like, it's constantly evolving as a whole.
See, I agree with that, but like with the context of this team being 0-3, I don't agree with that. I don't think that makes sense with how Loud has been evolving throughout the entirety of this year so far.
I'm kind of taking that in the way that in their offseason, they tried to evolve by pushing this double flash, Phoenix, Breach, all that.
Yeah.
That had a short shelf life.
Yeah.
It caught people off guard, and then it expired. And after that, though, then they haven't really had a chance to evolve too much in the past few weeks, and post-Madrid having no time, they were stuck with the flights, that whole situation.
Yeah.
And now it feels like they're hitting a reset button. They're playing some more default stuff, like Deadlock aside.
Yeah.
Some of the maps are kind of going back to basics, QCK playing a lot more Raze, but they haven't had time to evolve again. It feels like they just kind of regressed.
I see that, absolutely. And with that being said, like, this time that you're hoping for is leading to them being at risk of not even just at risk, at major risk of not making this international upcoming in Shanghai. And this is going to be the first time ever that happens for this team since their inception in 2022.
Just look at this list right now. They've been to every event. They have, 5 top 4 placements?
Yeah, it's
3
beautiful run.
finals appearances. I mean, this is one of the greatest teams that we have ever seen in the game.
I mean, after 2022, we were thinking this is the best pre-partnership team of all, right? Out of all of those teams, over Optic, over some of the other greats as well. They did it, and they've still been doing it up to this point. It's do or die now, or otherwise that record is going to get broken.
Right, yeah. So I guess the question is, like, how do they kind of course correct so that they do still stay in contention?
Yeah, I mean...
I don't know if we got the answers here, but...
That is tough, because one of the things I think is time, which has not been on their side, but also I think they've just misread this meta. I think the no Sentinel double flash thing, the power of Cypher right now in this meta has been on full display this year. It's so strong, and I think of dodging that completely has just been a misfire. Like, how are we playing no Sentinels except for Deadlock? Fellas, it's time to reconsider. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So that is one thing I'm looking at. Like, again.
Yeah, but they're not going to change that.
For a bit of time.
That's their identity now, right? Like,
but it doesn't have to be. It's time.
We can't just sit here and go the same thing for every Brazilian team. Like, please, Brazil, catch up to the
just
meta.
shake them.
That is the case, though.
But it's 2 weeks. They got to get 2 wins in the next 2 weeks, otherwise they're gone. Like,
but it's not like they haven't played with Sentinels before. Like, it's not. It's not so crazy to have to bring that in. Like what MIBR were doing, and again, I respect that they changed so much, but they changed everything, and we're bringing in new comps completely.
You're asking for too much. You're asking
I don't
for too
need
much.
that.
Akeem,
Loud.
I'm gonna give you $10,000. Get this guy off the team.
What are you talking?
Seriously?
I'm asking for a
Seriously?
cipher.
No, I will take the 10K. No, I'm getting you up to. But you know what? Let's go to predictions. Predictions right now. Who's winning? Why?
Sen.
I'll go Sen too, just because I think they're closer to making playoffs here, and it's a cop-out answer, but Loud has just been playing very poorly the last couple of weeks, and I don't see it changing.
All right. Well, you know what? I guess I'm going to be the advocate of the devil. I'm going to go. I'm going to go with Loud. I'm going to go with Loud. I just feel like, I don't know. I'm hoping for the best.
Look,
you know?
I'll tell you, these games are always close between these two teams, right? They always go to every single map.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's about that time, y'all. That's right. It's time to get this match underway. So let's send it down to the stage and see what's cooking up and who might win this one.
Riot Games Arena, make some noise for your first team, Sentinels! Confia, porque ainda não acabou! Faz o L de Loud!
Well, it is almost time. I cannot wait to see how things shake out for this one. I'm the only one that's on loud side, apparently, here at the analyst desk.
I mean, come on, we're on loud side. We want to see them
I am on loud side. I'm predicting Sentinels.
You need to be louder.
My brain says Sentinels, but my heart is always with Loud. It always has been, and it always will be. But listen, I'm a scorned, heartbroken fan right now, team, and I have to go with Sentinels at the moment. As much as it pains me. And it does pain me. Yeah. And like you said, Arden, these teams, though, regardless of everything, the last 2 times they met up, super close games. At Madrid, it came down to a third map OT. Yep. So, you know, listen, it could come down to that.
I mean, the finals of our kickoff tournament as well was 3-2, right? And
yeah,
5
mapper.
Right? True. It happens every single time. So, I mean, let's take a look at the matches.
Oh, my God. Okay, here's again.
I'm panicking.
We've taken it to Lotus. Both teams pretty much get rid of their permabans, which, I mean, are we going to see the deadlock? That is all eyes for me.
I see it right now. I see it right now. I see it right now.
I saw it on the screen. I saw it on the screen.
Fearing the deadlock.
Oh, my God.
So tell me why that's such a scary thought for you? Because
he was killing his teammates with walls. No, it's a scary thought for me, man. I mean, multiple rounds. Les got trapped on a wall, died to a molly. On the last round, he threw it and trapped Cowens. Poor Cowens, he was trying to play the spike. Gets trapped by the wall.
He's in the walls.
And then they all have to spray it down his own. And then just can't get into post-play positions. I mean, it's a situation where it felt like they had an idea that it would just be good on the map.
Yeah.
But it didn't come in with some strict ideas of like, we are going to go for this set play. Most of the moments that were standing out to me, it was just utility on the fly. Like, this situation, I think a wall would be good here. I think a GravNet would be good here. And the GravNet can kind of be like a C's on this map where you throw it on like the C platform, that kind of thing. But goddamn, this needs to be way better if they're going to win this deadlock.
Well, you never know. Sadak might be pure comedy on the deadlock. John QT is pure cinema. Yes, that's right. Now it's time to get this El Clasico 2.0 started and send it over to your casters. Here's Bryn and Sideshow.
Yeah, let's get started this, and I'm going to be taking some liberties here, but I believe this is a must-win for both of these teams. You got to be thinking that. You're looking at the groups. I mean, Loud currently winless, the bane of their existence. You know, the desk kind of touching on it, I think, as well through the history books of 2024 so far. The bane of their existence has been Sentinels. It was them that bested them in the grand finals of the kickoff to get those 3 championship points. It was them that knocked them into the lowers of Madrid, like Wyatt was mentioning on the desk as well. It was in a very heated fashion, only a difference of 2 rounds between them. These 2 teams have been closely contested so far for the entirety of 2024, but it's always been Sentinels taking that edge against them.
This match ends up being absolutely imperative, though, for both sides.
Yeah.
Sen are also in an incredibly difficult group. And for Loud, they would miss their first global event ever if they get eliminated from these playoffs. And they put their hopes on Sadak's deadlock, which didn't work against Cloud9. They had some decent ideas, but the execution of it did look a little sloppy, as the desk was illustrating. And here at the start, we're seeing a fight over that front B territory as Sentinels go with that classic defensive maneuver we've seen from them recently of taking mount control and then opening door to flush out front B.
Loud funneled entirely over towards A. Nanaswarm's going to be delaying this initial push. Take care of the turret, though. Horn flying forwards along with the boom, but a lot of utility being expended on either side, and still is a bit of a stalemate as we hit that minute mark in the round.
One of the things that Sadak loves doing with the deadlock on the attack side is getting into an exec space and then throwing the wall just to make sure the retake all funnels through one direction. To me, one of the biggest problems in their game against Cloud9, though, was that Loud kept ending B, and the C9 retakes on B were so good, completely overwhelmed Loud. So the more they can end on C like this, with only 10s at home, the better it'll be. Look at this lineup with the deadlock wall, lovely, into Waterfall.
30 seconds left.
It's a little more difficult to punish them for breaking that wall, but I think it's going to make most of the retake come through spawn. And Loud, this is where that deadlock can create the advantages.
So they've still got a bit of util left to play with here. As soon as this fight comes through with a nade Following through with that paranoia, big connections. Ghost, though, ripping them apart, and the grab net. Significant value there. 3 players just locked and rooted into place here. Sentinels finding it difficult to chew through this one. It's another smoke to try and get them into position, into the site, but it doesn't matter for Loud. A tight control there to C-site when they get into the post plant. For all the reasons you were already describing, Josh.
And Sen tried their best to break that hole. They had a Haunt and Paranoia combo that lit up multiple players on the left side, but the bodies were just too many to get past.
Yeah.
Look at this. They're marked. Half of them are blinded, but great grab net. And yes, I don't want to ignore the fact that Sadak did beef a bunch of his utility last time we saw them play. You heard Wyatt talk about it on the desk. He grav netted 2Es in one of the rounds. He locked out less with his wall at times. But I think the more you play with this, if it is a game plan they want to commit to, the better that util on the fly will get. It was honestly, he was just like flashed up and missing the util a lot of the time. It's simple stuff. It's easy to fix. We shouldn't see too many of those self-owns on this map. Maybe that's just my hope speaking.
I'm certainly hoping for that. I mean, if there's one thing I know about Loud, is that you can never doubt this team. Even when they're looking down into dust, beaten down over the course of this split, you just never know when they're going to come alive.
And they really have been beaten into the dust this split, though. It's so rare that we see Loud in this kind of spot.
Yeah.
2E's going to break that turret over towards C. It seems like from Loud so far, they're looking to apply pressure A and maybe have that avenue of ending C in the late round if they need to. They work for them on the pistol. And Sadak is normally excellent at his IGLing of trying to find those holes in teams' defenses. This is the wall that they do when they go for their A exec, so this is making it feel like they're going to end A.
It's a one-man fake, though, and a one-man show. Still, I mean, center on that half by
Go! Yeah, okay, well, someone was supposed to be taking contact there for John, but they'll maybe tighten that one up once we get to the rifle rounds. It doesn't matter as much here. Loud getting themselves into that C post plant. Sadak didn't give away a rifle or anything. And now instead of the wall going and flushing out Waterfall, it's players in that direction. So again, the Sen retake all coming from one spot.
Plan for Mound as well. You have Les is going to be taking point here. Onto the side, doesn't quite have the weapon for it, so he's not scared of playing aggressive. And they have flipped it. You can see just that positioning. QCK, it's been a bit of a nuisance here. They know that Waterfall is most likely occupied. Zekken just seeking to dominate the smoke, but as it fades, the rifles going to be slinging those bullets across now and finding all sorts of value. 2 years eventually getting it slightly labored. John QT sticking this one. Surely pushed back, and yes, eventually so. But that's a damaging second round here for Loud. They managed their economy so that they bring those rifles into the next, at least 2 of them, but they did have 3 online.
It's not that bad, though, because they didn't full invest into the bonus. They'll still have some damaging weaponry to work with. I think this is one of those situations where Loud should just be playing the bonus instead of trying to force up, but we'll see what decision they go for. We've seen some teams like G2 just decide to go for it in these spots.
Good kills, let's go.
Zels is trying to keep the vibes up early on. It was a decent or rather, decent eco round, I should say. And here we go into the tech pause early on.
Okay.
We've had a few of these with the Sen games recently.
We really have, yeah.
But I think it just gives us more time to talk about it. I was looking through the stats of all the teams that went to Madrid recently.
Yeah.
Of course, this being our rematch of those 2 teams that were in the grand finals at Kickoff, the representatives of Americas at Madrid. The Madrid teams across Americas, Pacific, and EMEA, since coming back, have only been at a 54% win rate. That is really low for what should have been the premier teams in those 3 regions.
Yeah.
I've discounted China from that a little because I feel like it's a bit more of a top-heavy region. And so those top teams have less competition, I feel. But I really feel like that stat in and of itself really showcases how difficult it is for teams to compete at these Masters events and come back and hit the ground running.
Yeah, it's been really tough.
Especially for Loud, who was stuck in Belfast afterwards.
That's what I mean, man.
And didn't even get practice.
Sentinels greasing the palms of the immigration officers or something. I don't know, but here we go.
Look at that grab net.
Yeah. A lot of util being used to make sure that they can't take and contend that close rumble fight. But Tens, he's still stuck his way in here. Eventually will go down, but surely evened up now. 3-2-3 QCK. Drop down 1 bullet to the chest. Finalizing it from Zekken. In the middle of all that chaos, 2 years Did find that gap in through to the B side. The trouble is the spike is dropped down into the middle of nowhere. They'll have to retrace their steps and regain that ground if they want any chance of winning this round.
It is technically possible that Tui's could get up to his Omen ult in the middle of this round, but it doesn't seem likely with the state of what's happening. So Les is making his way over there. There was a coordinated play to put more pressure on Zelsis. Les got close to C, started breaking Killjoy utility, in theory to make that duel easier for Tui's, but he brute forced his way through it anyway. And the Sen players are doubling up.
Yeah, doubling up, but you can see the amount of unknowns just circling around, you know, both teams' heads, I think, at this point, just making sure that everything could be cleared. Les is having to contact his way through most of these angles. He just doesn't know what space has been taken by Sen here.
But Tui's fake smoke on B did start to pull people towards that site, and so it's opened up this avenue for Loud to get to.
It's double re-clear Sen. They're side by side. I mean, Loud are going to have easy access to this entire site under Wiser. So Sen are in the opposite sides of the map as well. This plant will go down. As soon as they hear there's no sound cues and they see that plant is online, they're going to be making a run. Heavy marathon sprint now all the way over towards the A side because time is of the essence in this one. It is still winnable for Sen. But it's about how they take this fight right here with the door opening wide. Les, he's got awareness online, looking away for but a moment! Not covering the angles. 2 years dropped, but Les does not reveal his position now. Tucked to slide off angle. A jar! And nails the first one. 1v1, nade in his face, Satchels as well, too much to overcome, and Zekken will just win it out with a util.
Amazing round from Zekken there, recovering it for his team. But in the grander scheme of things, that's still a pretty big win for Loud. They've gotten closer to their ults, they've damaged the Sen economy very heavily. And they've also showcased that Sen were not ready for that grab net at the start of the round.
Yeah.
Because Loud didn't get to showcase their full strat book on the attack side against Cloud9, they only actually threw that grab net a couple times in the match. And Sen got caught by it there. It's a really powerful piece of utility, very big. And look at the eco damage that this has done. A Guardian for Zelsis and a Bulldog for Sassy coming into this round. And the Loud players close to 2 huge ultimates there in the Showstopper Nightfall.
And the war chest is filling up. Double satchels from QCK. No one to deal with that horn, but again, there is no follow-up. Sentinels. They'll concede that space in towards Rubble. 2 years as well have been taking a lot of liberties out towards B here. Will there be any follow-up after the Prowler gets shot down and broken? It's a slight angle there. Pixel to work with. Prowler in his face too. Sends it flying with a util to seize. With a snake bite, but it's all dodged and ducked.
Yeah, not comboed particularly well there, I feel. They've just sent that util in with no opportunity to follow up on it because there could have been other Loud players holding, and indeed there were, to make sure that Tui's didn't get punished. So Sadak's starting to really clear this space. He's a smart guy. He knows that after Sen have played that with 3 players, they're much more likely to back up and start to cover other holes in the map.
It's calling a good round for them. 2 years, only the 1 smoke to work with, but it won't be biting them.
He hit the wall this time.
He did hit the wall. No misplays, no fumbles. So into the post plant we go for Loud.
And they played these B post plants way too passively against C9. So it's nice to see 2 players up and aggressive here, QCK and Sadak.
And make sure to play those 4 positions. QCK inside the smoke, takes the timing. And with that, Rocket earned. A kill gained. And this retake just looking really so unlikely for Sentinels. They realize it. Immediate backing away. Got to keep those rifles into the next if you want to stand any chance on the long-term plan.
And all of that damage done on the bonus round. That's one of the reasons why Sen don't feel comfortable committing to that. Zekken with only 200 credits. They're cowering in spawn here. Loud getting up to a great start. QCK got his ult online by playing that more aggressive situation. I feel like that was one of the big problems that they had against C9. C9's flood defending on B was just getting so much space. And Loud, when you replace the Killjoy with the Deadlock, you don't have the ability to play off-site lineups like Sentinels are going to do once the sides are swapped. So they have to play in those pushed-up spots. So we can already see the evolution of the game plan from Loud on the attack side. And this one, the replay from a prior round, has less gone down. But this is the one from QCK that cracked things open.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It's just a prediction shot onto Sassy.
It's QCK again. I mean, QCK, there's no pushback again from Sentinels. been the game plan for them, just giving up this space for free as the door opens up again. It's an Nano Swarm to stop them in their tracks, but Loud have been doing a great job with the macro. However, that is overzealous. Less really did overstep his own boundaries. Another snakebite drop down as well as that Prowler, but the door opens wide to that angle. John QT will fall in the midst of it.
Really well supported by Loud. Yes, a little early from Les, but the rest of the team there to pick up the pieces.
Drop down into pit silently.
Here, though, the deadlock wall means they never need to worry about stairs, so they can afford to focus on pit. They shouldn't get caught by this.
Paranoia sweeping through. Satchel at movement, running and gunning, and just narrowly avoiding it. All that util to send flying forward. Sadak, he was unleashing that annihilation, but no connections. Here is a rocket to the face. Sentinels. It's overwhelming with the aggression. Leave it to just Kawazine. And again, double digits of health. One bullet will do it. Haunt tagging onto 2. Plenty of chances. Satchel has to break it. And now Sassy trusting his teammates, sticking it onto Hab. And Zekken, the stalwart defender, make sure that the round ends in a win.
That was very close towards the end there. Getting lit up, both of them, by the Haunt in that position because they wanted to stay guns out. But I think that's Loud's round that they threw away in that spot. They needed to be ready for Zekken to pop out. You see, the Gravnet is late, and then the Annihilation is aimed towards pit, and Zekken's already out of pit.
Yeah.
So Sadak just missed the timing there on 2 pieces of utility to try to support QCK. Otherwise, Loud should have had that one wrapped up.
Getting into a point now at a half where the economy's a bit more balanced between these teams. Sen really offloading that one with the Paranoia. Make sure that they can take and hold onto that rubble control. Might cause a fast pivot of Loud.
A fake there from Tui's, but he hasn't broken the Killjoy turret.
He's been a nuisance, isn't he?
They've done a great job here, though, of getting rid of that early alarm bot, forcing out both of the nanoswarms. Aseno really worried about the C-pop here, just as Loud go back to reclear A.
How do you reclear 10s, though? Up onto this high ground position. He wants nothing to do with it. He's going to be backing away just in time as well. As Seas was hot on his heels. Out through the tiny little door there with a barrier mesh. There will be no taking up that space once more. Give that one up.
It's a bit of an awkward one.
It's all over the place. I mean, Loud are scattered, and so are Sentinels. The call to contact reclear out through B main. 2 years. It's been capitalizing.
They were already thinking about crunching Mound there. You could see it in the way that Sassy and Zekken were walking past. They didn't go for a proper wide swing to get themselves positioned onto the angle. They just slow walked out, already in their heads, assuming nobody would be towards B.
There's good access for multiple players. 10s. Yes, just a direct his attention in precisely the wrong place there. I think that was 2 years just committing the ult. Impeccable take here. The entirety of the site dismantling Sentinels. Flawless.
We've seen Sen go for some bonkers comebacks on this map. So I'm not worried. The Sen fans shouldn't be worried either. But there are improvements that they could make to how they're playing the defense here, for sure. And Loud, once they start getting confident, you've got more worries, actually.
This is a team with really nothing to lose in stage 1 anymore. That makes them particularly scary, I think.
Also, when we get back into the game, take a look at who the 2 top fraggers are. In fact, as we go into this timeout, I'll just tell you, it's QCK and Kawanzine, currently at the top of the scoreboard for Loud. Both of those players have not gone positive in a single map for Loud in stage 1. The overall game plan has not been working, and they haven't been able to thrive in the midst of that as the individualism tries to carry them over the line. So to see the ideas working for Loud and that empowering QCK and Kawanzine to turn their fortunes around and start hitting shots and get into good positions, that's why it's a little concerning, I think, for Sen. Not because they can't come back, but because they're opening the door for Loud to start feeling better about themselves and get that footing underneath them.
A bit of confidence back. It's 2-4, where Sen are taking his time out. Look for a way back in. Again, we say it all the time when we're covering Lotus as a map, but it's heavily attack-sided. And so how much damage the Loud really need to do to have that winnable chance into the second half? We can only find out when we get there. For now, though, it's another eco round half-buy for Sentinels.
And Sadak's calling a great attack side. Sen are constantly misreading where the Loud players are.
this push and pull as well, where he's just pressuring all the right areas, making it very difficult to feel where Loud might be ending. Making good usage of the map and the amount of time he's got in each round.
And the pushes on defense have been getting owned. You know, if you're going to try to push out B main and get something going,
okay,
it has to find value.
This is an attempt by Sentinels as well to see if they can take a fight towards him with that util, but Loud again. One step ahead is what it felt like. The Paranoia was used from way back. It triggered out that util from Sentinels, and they had on Paranoia just ready and waiting.
And Kawanzin didn't get hit by the defense Paranoia from TenZ, and so he's able to stay. And look at that, great read again from Loud.
I mean, 2 is having a field day.
The Sen players hear everybody on Loud running away, so they try to backfill that space, and Loud just leave a single player there with a rifle versus pistol players, able to shut it down. I think they've got an excellent idea of how Sen are going to be working the map.
Yeah.
Again, we see that lineup coming through from the deadlock wall, cutting off Waterfall, and Loud get a nice plant down. The other advantage of throwing that wall, by the way, you can trap players in Waterfall.
You can.
You know, if Zelsis or John QD are going to be playing around that spot, but they're looking to try to play for retake, they can get trapped away from the rest of their team and separated from any reinforcements. You can go and push and take those kills.
Which players often do, you know, seeking to just deny the plant from going down from that one angle. It's got a lot of layers to it. Some players do need to group up here. They don't want to save these guns into the next, so would like to go down to a few of them, at least to get a little bit closer to their own ultimates. QCK, head clean off. Sadak, though, most of these players are being squeezed, and they realize, yeah, we do need to go down here. Kawazin is the one to collect, which honestly, best case scenario for them. He already had the ult.
Exactly, it's not optimal for Loud. Ideally, you actually, I mean, listen, Kawanzin's ult is going to be fantastic in the next round. Sen, they've got the Viper ult online. Normally, you're going to see them Viper ult over towards C at the very beginning of the round. Loud can already start thinking about that. All right, what tools do we have to deal with that Viper's Pit? Are we going to Nightfall early? Are we going to throw an Annihilation in there to try to catch John QD? And Sen, on the minimap, from our point of view, we can see already messing with those expectations. They're not looking to pit at the start of the round. Instead, they've got TenZ with an op towards C. So as the rest of Loud try to take a bit of mound control, they're going to be faced with a very different opponent.
And just pure disrespect on show. How about a jump spot as well? Zelsis, just that deeper angle. Couldn't quite get out of dodge there, so 1 for 1.
It looks like he thought about crossing, and look at the space that Tuiz has taken in the meantime.
He will take these liberties if he realizes that it's empty, but John QT is caught up to his plays and his ways.
Do you expect the second player?
But the rest of Loud as well, going to be following up right there with him. CK getting the plant at least, but it might be a flood attempt here by Sentinels, at least with the Nightfall. Stops the defuse. Less nade, dodged away, just can't quite hit the second with the spray. But still, all sound cues cut away for Kawazin. They have lost all track of really what's occurring. Still, it's 2 versus 2. And the spike did go down in the middle of all of this one here. So still, the onus being on Sentinels. Kawazin is dodging, just evading that capture here. But Kawazin forced out into the open. Oh, and QCK will use it. It's a great success. 6-2 now for Loud, making sure that there's no gaps. No easy rounds here for Sentinels to win.
What a day for QCK to wake up and put on this kind of a performance. I felt like he was very serviceable for Loud during kickoff. And one of the big reasons that they got to Madrid and were able to perform, he looked tight, coordinated. People were talking about how Sadak, you know, great small-time IGL, how does he keep doing it with all of these new players? And yeah, QCK has cooled down massively in stage 1, but he's back now when the game plans are working, up there, winning rounds for Loud, putting pressure on Sen.
It matters most. TenZ, this is so damn bold right now. ADS in a way.
And do you pit off that contact?
Barely surviving. I mean, the pit's not going to be offloaded here, but mainly because John QT's not in position for it.
He was, though. When TenZ first took contact, they're just not trying to invest this ult.
But they're going to go fast through this one. Look at this. It's Annihilation and nade rebounds. Brought out decay damage. It all adds up. Enough for the rifles and util to really get that work done.
I think Sen is stuck in a position right now where they're trying to play disruptively or unexpectedly. And instead, they're just getting trapped.
It's falling apart. Another round where you have to, I mean, just bite the bullet. Very difficult decision to make, especially when you're down this many rounds if you are Sentinels. But it's, again, got to keep the guns in play.
This defense side needs some heavy looking at from Sen. You know, they're getting, TenZ is getting bullied back, and then the C side is just so open.
Yep.
Look at that. The Nightfall's in. Annihilation to pick up the kill, even if the Nightfall nade combo hadn't worked. And we saw John Cutie now 2 rounds in a row where Sen have been buying, but haven't found an opportunity or haven't wanted to invest the Viper ult. I think probably because they were worried about the combination of that, like Nightfall Annihilation. They're just like, well, we're not going to get value out of it anyway, so we might as well play a different defense setup. But these look kind of audible rather than something you would have drawn up beforehand. Finally, the ult cycle dies for Loud. So no more big ults to open their way into sites. So Sen have an opportunity now to grab as many as they can towards the end of this half and make things doable for themselves on the attack side. We've seen them come back from ridiculously far down, but you don't want to put yourself in that position every time.
No, definitely don't. For Sentinels as well, it's going to be that bargain bin purchase. I mean, weaponry, it's got some power to it. Grab that combo along with a snake bite. I mean, there's just no contention from Sentinels. Can't even hope for it. Door opens wide here. Sanaki, that is pure disrespect. I mean, just complete assumptions being made. Celsius ramming his way around and away. Slaps down Loud for getting aggressive. Thinking that they can play them in themselves, and Paranoia will get that connection. Blind as anything here. 2v3, fake TP. 2 is slots that spike. He's surrounded by these Sentinels players. One of the best chances they've had for a good win in quite some time.
I can't believe how disrespectful Loud are.
Backs to it. They're just unaware. Yeah, that disrespect here. Pulled them into that 2-on-2. Players are still low here. Single kill could have done it there, but TenZ just doesn't feel like he can take that fight. Backs away now towards the B site.
They're trying to play safely, but they're giving so much space to Loud. And now TenZ has to cover B and C, running through Waterfall to pick up that spot. Now running back as Sen adjusts which positions to hold.
He doesn't know which to hold, right? Could be landing towards B, could be landing towards C. For Loud, pick the correct destination. Not going to be any pushback.
They have to be worried. TenZ has made it feel like he's playing on this site.
Just from those smokes being thrown up, and there's still a lot of util where that came from. Let's find out how it looks here. Sentinels, they are set up quite nicely for the retake. Boombar has to be expended really quite early. Sentinels going to clear through the back of the site, and they're making all sorts of noise. It's a high-low setup. Swinging past, 2 years, looks like he wants to take a peek, and what a time to do it! Strikes right when the iron was hot there. Zekin did not know what was going on. It's up to TenZ, peeking away, but just below him, 2 years was lurking.
And that is a round that Sen have got to put away. Those were Zelsis' first 3 kills of the map.
Yeah.
And they go to naught. I can't believe that Loud just walk in on tree, though.
I mean, Sadak with the first one.
Sadak's just like, yeah, I know that you've held tree before and killed us, but I'm just going to walk through here and hope that you're not watching it. And yeah, there's another play as Kawanzin finally got the opportunity to turn things around.
Yeah. It's a final round, well, not quite actually. 2 more rounds to go here in this first half. Way into things here, and again the weaponry is just falling short of the mark. Shy of the mark. I mean, there's a Paranoia, sweeps through, there's no follow-up.
How could there be any follow-up in that situation? Feels like Sen are grasping at straws now.
This with a pit drop down. Still, Viper Orb just makes it feel so awkward here for Zelsis. Doesn't have control towards A. Realizing they could lurk through. What's the call though for Loud now? All grouped up. Partly over towards C, partly over towards A.
I think the call is to try to drag players over towards A and then hit through C, but I don't understand how they're going to get through this pit. John Cutie could end the round.
Certainly could. Barrier mesh at the feet of Zekin, a bit of confusion. You can feel it in the way that they're playing. And to make a play, I mean, John QT takes the initiative, runs straight at them with the judge, but does not get anything.
He felt like he had to force the fight because Tui's had ulted behind him onto site and there was a blast pack at his feet.
I mean, this is so fast by Loud. And look at it, just catch him unaware. Sentinels are trying to set up for this retake. Thinking it's fully cleared out. There's no chance in hell that Loud could be playing at that kind of tempo, but with them taking a fight in this fashion to them, again, they are just cutting Sen out of the picture every time they try and go for a retake.
Where has this Loud been all throughout stage 1? Where has this fire been? the playmaking, the fragging as well.
Yeah. I mean, cast your minds back to the beginning of the stage. They had a rough go of things, to be honest. Couldn't get as much practice as the other teams. Were trapped waiting for visas, so ended up flying next day, ended up playing their first match.
Last round in the half.
Without really any prep time at all.
And they've also been playing catch-up because they had, I think, a bad read on the meta early on in the year. And so Sadak put the emphasis on their coaches to help get them caught back up. Looks like they're doing a decent job, actually, in this game. Bear in mind that Lotus, it's a game of two halves. Especially when it comes to Sentinels. We've seen them make these 9-3 comebacks. But we're sat at 9-2 right now, with absolutely no guarantee that Sen are going to be able to get the final round on the board. It's a bad buy. 2 Guardians, 2 Bulldogs.
Whoa, Sadak, I mean, disrespecting the Season 8 combo. It's been a while since we've seen something like that get value.
Now Zen
can earn the kill. Whoa! Zen's way out. No one's really holding for it. The rocket, again, just rebounds, but no damage really being done. Instead, it's all on the side of Loud. They're fighting over this one tooth and nail.
It's so brawly. Loud are willing to disrespect the fact that Sen have taken control. Sen are already backing up, assuming that Loud are going to give them that respect. And so it turns into very scrappy fights.
Deep alarm bot. Connection 2 years. I mean, there's no one to really follow up on it, is it?
He did have a rifle earlier on in the round, I'm sure. Their economy was out of control, but he's decided to go in here with the op and the shorty.
But that's how he's going to be clearing the way. Just jump spots all the way through. Kavazine getting the plant down. It's not one that you can play really to post plant effectively from Mound. So again, Loud are going to be having to play up close and personal. I think that's exactly what they want to do against this lockdown.
Yeah, so they're pitting into a spot where they can deny the waterfall lockdown. But Celsius is going to pop it from spawn.
Let's use preemptively second. So you're going to beam them down, at least with that rifle. Here's the lockdown from the spawn angle. Who's going to be holding this one? You have to respect it. Les, it's way out of there. Pit's still going to be up for but a moment here. There are gaps to play in 2 years. Just for the one. 2v2 now. Getting the move on, getting the run on. And right into these open sightlines with a gun. Second just cannot adjust it in time. That's a 10-2 finish and a half here for Loud. Lighting the world on fire.
Unbelievable resurgence. QCK with a 2 KD sat at the top of the scoreboard. After people are calling for his head. As Loud as 0 and 3. Everything was working for Loud there. The calling from Sadak was beautiful. No dispute of the value of the deadlock in a lot of these rounds as well.
No, it was doing work, to be honest.
But, Bren, they have to close it out early on in the next half. Because we've seen that Sen can mount comebacks.
Just know how snowbally the map can really get as well. I mean, Sadak going to be keeping out the back of his mind. He called a hell of a game for this first half here. And guess what? Earlier, we spoke with him about the internal changes the team has made for 2024.
Para esse primeiro split a gente trocou alguns jeitos de como o time vai se estruturar. Os coaches estão mandando muito mais e realmente está dando certo. Em ponto está dando certo. A gente está conseguindo treinar muito bem, estamos conseguindo performar muito bem nos treinos. Só nos está faltando levar isso para o stage, que está sendo mais difícil, mas eu acho que o trabalho que eles estão fazendo realmente está sendo muito bem feito.
So exactly what we were talking about and discussing, you know, Sadak just saying that he's putting the emphasis and responsibility, I guess, more so in his coach's hands to try and dig them out of this hole in stage 1 that's been dug for them. And I mean, if this is the turning point for them, so be it. You can never really count a team like Loud out at all. We've seen that for this entire Orcs history.
You also can't count out the Sen fans. So it just showed a tweet there, the Sen fans being like, yeah, this game's ours.
I mean, that is a strong belief.
That's going to be tough.
But we have seen Sentinels do it before.
Yeah, but the way that Sen did it before was by winning pistol, winning bonus, getting that crazy streak of rounds going. And I think, right, if we're going to talk about how the deadlock works on their defense side, they've actually got some great ideas for it. But with all of the good stuff that comes with the deadlock, on defense, you just don't have info across the map.
Yeah.
So you need to keep players everywhere. If you do the classic, like, 2 players C, 3 players A, you're just leaving B open. There's no turret, there's no alarm bot to watch that. You can't rely on the sonic sensors. So Loud were getting ruined a little bit on their defense side of Lotus against Cloud9 because they were forced to contact themselves. They were forced to take contact. They couldn't play off turret, play off alarm bot. And that's what Sen will be feeding into here, I think. But we need to see the Sen players able to find those entries. Yeah. Loud are going to be in spots, defending the entry. They're not going to be playing with utility in their hands or ready to swing off alarm bot contact. but you've got to win the fights to make this winnable.
Sen are usually dominant on this map, unless you're the individual putting up 47 kills, as my stat wizard has just reminded me. Really the only time they actually have ended up losing this map here. We'll see if they can mount another comeback again. Has to begin here. First round to start things. Round 13. Gotta get that snowball going. Build up some of these ults. For now, it's just a bit of poking and prodding out towards a rubble. John QT is going to hold on to control of this one, so it doesn't look like he's going to be getting out of the way for the rest of his team. 2 years. This is so damn ballsy. Full sprinting. Just gives the perfect cue there for Sassy to just pluck him out of the map.
And these are the chances that Sentinels thrive on. Loud are trying to beat them back here. That Horn's going to delay them for just a moment. It's going to buy that time for Cowanzine to get on the angle.
He's already there, but at least the paranoia is good. Cut away. Sights and senses here, still standing the ground and trying to win that fight out with QCA dropped to the floor, and the coach just can't do the work. Even with the run and gun in play, slight head being shown, less. Taking liberties with it. The grab net is good with that connection, but Sassy now going to be sticking that plan. He's going to have to trust in his teammates to hold down the angles and avenues. That is a very wide face. John now sprinting fast right behind the backstab with a dagger in hand. And this is Sentinels with at least that first round on the board that was necessary.
And immediately, I'm starting to think about how Loud can stop the snowball. And I know that just sounds utterly ludicrous when they're up 10-3. But we've seen Sen on their attack side. I mean, just to give you a stat, to kind of explain why I'm already thinking about this potentially becoming a close game. Sen only win 38% of their defense rounds. They've been winning 82% on their attack side.
God almighty.
And they've only lost once, and that was when Aspas dropped 47 against them.
Yeah.
So, for Loud, it's about round 15. If you can do enough damage on this round to hurt the Sen economy round 15, can you actually come up with wins there and edge your way closer to a victory? Can you build up the ultimates? Can you come up with counter plans for when Sen have their ults online? This round, it's more to do with economic damage.
Cool. Deep amount of pressure. You do re-clear and take up mound control once more, you're right. But that economic damage. There is a silver lining for Loud, as in the prior round, that Sen felt forced enough to really increase that tempo that they didn't end up picking up the orb over towards C. So they're not being entirely efficient when it comes to trying to snowball and keep the ults generating.
Sure, and Zekin's only at one ult orb.
Yeah.
And normally it's the showstopper that gets online early in like round 15, round 16. So, yeah, these are good signs for Loud to be able to close out the map.
Swarm grenade.
And again, I'm sure it does feel ridiculous that we're talking about this as if it could be a close game, but we've just seen it from Sen too many times to count them out.
I mean, above 80% win rate on the attack side.
So here, Sadak was early round watching over towards C. Then as he leaves C, he throws the wall. And this is an enormous tell that John Cutie can use. Yes, this is on a rifle round.
Oh, and he was just seeking to at least push back that aggressive approach, cleaned up by QCK, and you're right.
That's something I'm going to be paying serious attention to, because when I was watching Loud play against Cloud9, every time Sadak threw his deadlock wall, it meant they were leaving that position. That's an enormous tell for the attack side IGL. And I know that John loves reading into stuff like that. And this round was an example. Sadak threw the wall, they took like a moment for the players to rotate off, broke the wall, committed to C.
Paranoia fight here. Good game plan here by Sentinels. Pushing them out wide here. They're trying to get these kills online for Sassy. That's why he's the one just really forward up.
I love to see the Bucky getting some work done. But 3 players dying to the spike means 3 ult orbs denied. And Zekin is still sat at only 1 ult orb.
But
I mean, yeah, Sassy's close to the Nightfall, but I think Loud have dodged a bit of a bullet here with how they've played these first couple of rounds. Even though they've lost them, the fact that they haven't loaded kills into Zekin and denied 3 orbs, put a little bit of economy pressure. Sen, now the focus is on them to come out with something big here for round 15.
Climb the ladder.
Let's see how they do it. Sentinels, no early exchange, at least from the util. Gonna let loose with that orb. Sadak, one of the orbs as well, making sure to break the door. So they do have an exit strategy if they choose to fight over this one, which they are. Zekin takes first blood, takes a second, and the third. God empty. Feeling empowered in a moment. The grab net delayed there. Didn't do anything to stop him.
You feel like it should have done. When Zekan's rooted to the spot, his little head poking up above root, and the rest of Loud are not able to get wide swings and punish him. I gotta see that in a replay. That looks like crazy good spray control from the young fragger of Sentinels.
And the decision's already made for Loud. They can't play for this one.
No.
Investing the rifles into this one, they've got to keep their guns. So again, familiar scenes.
And again, you do not want to be giving these deaths to build up towards the ult orbs for Zekan. That's a really important thing that you want to be denying here. Sassy, though, didn't have to use the Nightfall, and this is such a big focus.
Yeah, it is.
For us when we're thinking about how Lotus attack side can snowball. Loud needs to be really cautious about this stuff.
Exactly. It's the reason why the attack side is so good for Sentinels. They're already thinking about these little defining moments that just are able to get you these wins time and time again.
And I just want to quickly point out that Loud did actually run a 2-0-3 defense there. 2 players C, nobody B, 3 on A at the start of the round. That's not something they were doing very much in the game against Cloud9 because they were worried that someone could just run fast B. And yeah, as expected, that was a bonkers play by Zekan.
I mean, this kid is nuts when he gets going.
Yeah. He's made a lot of people feel like that over the course of this year. Once again, we're getting 0 players over towards B to begin the round. If Sen can start to get a read onto that, it's something that's very punishable.
I think John might call this pivot, to be honest. A lot of space, a lot of util as well that was just thrown out. Should be a pretty big tell.
Toxin screen down.
Prowler does connect.
Sadak coming to reinforce less on the C site. Sadak did not use that wall when he left C. And it's great from the defense that they've got QCK posted A.
Well, the Nightfall's going to get committed. No chances here for Sentinels. They don't want to let it slip away and through. This with the rifle aim, but Lesh is still towards the back of Pillar. Port has to be broken. The reinforcements are here.
It's only Zekan on site.
It is only Zekan. There is no follow-up and follow-through. Indeed, sees a connection to Cage. Down to the one with the barrier mesh in their face. They can't take the fight equally in time and in tandem. It's Loud that are dropping them. Realization by Kawazine. Knowing that they're now into the 1v2, they can give up that space and just play side by side. QCK, though, does have double satchels to work with along with the judge. Many ways to play this if you are Zelsis.
He doesn't know exactly where QCK is. He's seen Kawazine earlier on. His time has just ticked.
Yeah, 40 seconds. And as the satchel plays with the charge, shot, nails it, straight mid-air, disrespect to the horns, at least gets off of it, but now time, he has to stick it. Kawazine, a moment's notice is all it takes.
That's a phenomenal round by Loud. Weak weaponry, and the value from Sadak's deadlock wall was amazing. He has the grab net and the wall to separate those 2 players, the duelists, essentially. Zekan and Tens from the rest of Sen. And look, as the blast pack's in here, Zekan, Tens is with him, but everyone else is walled out. Look at the wall! And how perfect that timing is. Zekan got isolated. They got hit with the C's, picked off 1 by 1, and the rest of Sen could only throw in utility.
That's the Spider heroics. I mean, Zelsis makes a good go of things here, but for Loud to win that, monumentous.
Yeah, that's such a big round for Loud to put on the board. It drags them closer to that 13 that they're going to need. A momentum breaker, perhaps, but the economy is still decent for Sentinels. Zekan is still 1 away from showstopper for Sentinels. They have chances to begin the snowball again. This may just be a blip in the road if Sen can use this tactical timeout to come up with another good way of getting in. But the problem for them is, Brent, that if they rely on Zekan taking that ult orb and getting into a site, what's to say that the same doesn't just happen?
Oh yeah, it just gets split up by the barrier mesh.
Barrier mesh or the grav net, or in theory something like the C's as well, right? All of these tools can separate Zekan or Zekan and Tens from the rest of the squad. And Loud's comp is just so happy to play that kind of style instead of playing offsite retakes.
Sentinels have taken his time out now to see if they can just pick apart any holes in his defensive game plan, which we can see it. Straight down the gut of the B site. Only the one center left to really guard it and away.
And this time it actually does look like Zelsis may be thinking about taking this route. The rest of Sen are putting non-committal pressure towards Mound.
They want the orb.
But Zelsis hasn't really taken space there. I don't think John's got this read. The problem is that it's really difficult to tell exactly who's going to be around B at the start of the round. Even if Loud are throwing C's nade and you hear a teleport on A, that raise and fade can get away to B really quickly. And Kawanzin could always be starting the round B and throwing the fade horn through the roof. It does look, though, like Sen are aiming to fake the A reclear and end B.
It's going to get used, though. Look at that. Again, paranoia and a nade committed. So Loud know that nobody's crossed that space. And here's the showstopper. Second. Trying to lead the way for him. He doesn't care about the stun at this point, but no one's going to be crossing his sight line. A lot of space taken here. Do they hold on to it? Nightfall, it's fast now. A rapid approach onto this one with the door opening wide. Grabnet connects. Sadak should have been set up nice and easy, but it's JunQT who puts him to bed. But it's fast still. Loud realize that all those sound cues are trapped and tucked away here. Nanoswarms have to be uploaded here by Zelsis just to seek the delay. And the post-bar positioning, it's not quite ideal. Sees though, a great connection with another nade as well. High ground by Les. Nade finally following through. And granting these kills to them. 2 left to stand here for Loud, and they have to, again, give up the hopes and dreams, I think, of any chances into this round.
The way that Sen plays these B post plants is lovely. The utility's excellent on them. And John even found a lurk angle through Waterfall. He decided not to give it away. That positioning in spawn might clue Loud in that he went for that. But generally, just he ended up being the safety net there if the Sen utility hadn't done the job. A great response from Sen. It looked like Sadak was set up to make the play. You were completely right there. But he couldn't find the fight he needed. Only 2 rounds required for Loud to get this over the line. But I'm always afraid of rounds like this, where Loud are kind of half buying. They're making sure they have enough economy for next. But if they feel incentivized to use the Annihilation and then they don't have that for another big rifle
they're fighting this, man. I mean, that is a double player group up here with a nade and a paranoia. Sentinels, they hear all of it. And you're right, the overinvestment can sometimes remove those win cons for a little bit deeper into the half when you just need those 2 rounds to overcome it.
Tuiz doesn't have the paranoia, but QCK's still going to take it. Oh my God!
He's just wandering right into him.
Doesn't believe that Kawanzin's going to be on that side of the map.
JunQT just trying to play with the rest of his team. Throwing a committal into the B site. Less over peaks for about a moment there, seeing if he could just take away one of the heads. Zelsis has lurked and crept and crawled his way into those deeper positions. They should have sealed this one up to at least make it winnable. Loud. They're still going to make a go of this. Still have 3 rifles, but Tuiz doesn't anticipate it. Much as he snaps to the side, JunQT is just mopping up these kills.
Zelsis 2 away from lockdown. That's the player that should be going and trying to hunt. Sen have got the economy for it. Small pause, they should realize that Loud are going for the save. Loud have had to save in a ton of these spots as well. But another great macro round called by JunQT. Threading the needle through to B and then through to A again. And yeah, Sassy dies on that push through Waterfall, but it actually gave them the read that it was probably going to be weak on the other side because they knew they'd lost Mound. And if you've also lost Waterfall control, there's not going to be anybody rubbing, or not many people rubbing.
Just setting up that momentum. We've been talking about how strong they are, even with a couple of fumbles. Like here, you're seeing Sassy just not expecting a close quarter angle. But a great call for the pivot by JunQT, just realizing that the A side was going to be open. As well as that, I mean, the double face onto Sadak, who could have just played spoiler, tucked into that one and done. The way they fought that, I mean, just weaving in and out, making sure that there was, no straight up fight. Making Sadak feel really uncomfortable when they ended up going for that A pivot.
I think this is the round where Loud need to be looking for some disruption to Sen's game plan. Because the war machine is really going at this point. And again, another reminder, Sen won 10 out of 11 of their attack rounds last time we saw them on Lotus to pull off a 9-3 comeback against EG.
stack, though, from Loud.
Yeah. But is there any... All right, so they know now that Zelsis is on the C orb. He's one away.
Cover going out.
Hold TP for information. That's 2 years, committing it, realizing that John is still there into the lobby angle.
I think that's good info, because it means that you don't have to start reinforcing the C site, thinking it's an exec.
Sen feeling a bit stunted. Need to find a way to push back 2 years.
That's
paranoia.
That's because the wall went
going
up.
The smoke as well. How do you play it? Disrespecting it. It's a horn that was broken along with a snake by 2 years. Shoulder peeking wide. Doesn't go down though. 2 straight bullets. Tripping him down, weakening him. QCK feeling a bit uncertain as his own position. He just offloads that nade. But what's the call now again for Sen here? About 30 seconds into it. Zekken, Satchel is forward now, cutting up the angle. But it's a one and done by QCK. And eventually traded out, but still Kawazine Annihilation all the way straight through main. Sen losing control and grip of really the positions that they could be playing in for Zelsis. Sitting duck. More outs to play for, left. Not even a winnable round, so Loud. There's a hell of a climb to do so, but they will find themselves up to that 12th round.
Excellent timing for Loud to pull together all of their threads and put another one on the board. They don't need to take risks, they just need to stack up advantages and convert. And in this situation, they forced John to overwork the attack side. John's been finding the gaps fairly heavily. This time, though, Kawazine had already taken mount control, and he was in a spot to open the door and set up crossfires on B, and Sen eventually ended there.
Yeah.
I think Sadak also just throwing his wall over towards C gave them so much peace of mind.
Is this going to be another defining moment? This is an onslaught. It's just racing towards John QT. Have to show some respect, at least, to the Snakebinder positioning. I mean, he doesn't open himself up. Realizing that he was being pressured. Louder making heavy rotations, expecting that Sen are going to be calling that fast pivot.
Sen's attack side in the last couple of rounds hasn't actually had mount control or rubble control. It is so difficult to win attack side rounds without either of those spots being controlled on the attack.
More the timer ticks down into this round, the less chances are really going to be available for Sentinels. Loud end up gambling correctly, and QCK goes to the right area.
Yeah, and here comes QCK.
Yeah, that showstopper. It's going to become that sticking point.
He's really required to break lockdown if Zelsis chooses to commit it C.
Fake.
It's going to be a fake.
Yeah. Hoping that the lockdown will sell this one well enough. There are plenty of players. Nade, boards, rebounds. It's right on the marks. That will break it. No problems with it.
That might be early enough that the fake does nothing.
2 years his job, really just to contain that and get that information that the rotation was happening. Kawazine feeling free, taking liberties. Loud! This is the hopes and dreams of map 1 for Sentinels. Really a distant memory. QCK, rapid on the approach, hearing it, alternating it, snaps it back round with a rocket, and there's no more time left to really contend with it. Sassy realizing
10 seconds left.
No more chances, no more hope.
Nice.
No matter how many kills you get into the mix. This is Loud up map
1. Great performance by Loud on map 1, justifying that deadlock pick and showcasing why it can be very potent. Sen tried their best. Another valiant attempt at a comeback, but that defense side is letting them down, and we finally see them punished for it. Only their second loss on Lotus, and it's Loud that come away with the victory. Icebox next map was Loud's pick as well. And a big turnaround because Loud, they lost to Cloud9 on both of these maps, Lotus and Icebox. That was how they lost the series to start this negative spiral. Now they're looking better.
This could be the return to form for Loud. Still more of the series yet to see, of course. We're stepping away. Up next, Geek Heavy and the analyst desk. We're breaking it all down for map number 1.
Face your fear!
Hey guys, it's Jimmy Lin. In this series, I'm going to walk you through attack on Pearl. Watch out for the stairs, clear this angle. You're going to be able to fight this.
gives you wings.